Hi, ladies. Welcome to our blab for the Sisterhood of Success. So I have our co-hosts here, Amy Biderwolf, who is a blogger with the Good Life blog, and Dawn Gallagher, who's a best-selling author. She's also a blogger with the Good Life Gals, and she's a beauty expert, lifestyle expert. Amy's a professional coach, network marketing guru. And today we're going to be talking about how breaks lead to breakthroughs. So all of us are so busy, consumed with communication overload, and sometimes we don't think that we have time to take a break, but we're here to tell you that you need to take the time to breathe, move away from the computer, even if it's for 5 minutes. Dawn always says, light a candle to center yourself, even put a little cream on lovingly. Amy's article this week on the Good Life blog is about painting during her downtime. And I know that's only one of her pastimes. She does lots of things to rejuvenate and basically re-energize. So I'm going to hand it over to Amy since it's her article, and we're going to be all talking about how the little things that we do every day to sort of help us get through the day, energize, and reboot ourselves, so to speak. So go ahead, Amy, take it away.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. It's a well-known fact that human beings don't do well in a marathon type of schedule where you're supposed to be operating at 100% functionality for very, very long distances. We're actually better at sprinting, where we put a lot of energy into a short period of time, accomplish whatever task is in front of us, and then we take a break, we rest, we refocus, we regenerate, and then we can go back and perform again. And if you look at people who operate on those types of schedules over the long term, they perform better than people who try to get 100% out of every second and every day. So ultimately, when you take time during the day to relax and regenerate, you're the one who needs to decide what works best for you. I mean, if it's lighting a candle, candles are a great way to do that. There's just something about that little flame that gets you to calm down for a couple minutes and just, connect to the universe, if you will. I like to paint around the house, especially because not only does it kind of send my brain into that zone, but also when I'm done, I even accomplish something. So it serves a dual purpose. There's napping. Napping is a very big pastime of mine. But yeah, ultimately just find something that relaxes you, listening to music, maybe even watching a 30-minute TV show. I hate to admit it, people out there, but I'm a big Housewives fan, and something about those goofy shows really, help me shut my brain off and focus on something else. So I know Cindy and Dawn have their own favorite ways of disconnecting and recharging.
Yeah, so Dawn, share some of yours. You always have some wonderful words of wisdom.
Well, for me, I really like to start my morning off with like a breathing exercise or some sort of meditation or yoga stretches. For me, that kind of gets me going for the day. That gets my body energized. It focuses me for the tasks ahead. And for me, also, downtime is about spending time with my children or my child. I only have one child. And what I meant, yeah, my husband counts too. I think that's such a relaxing way to kind of get because we're working so hard, because we're going a million miles a minute, you really have to schedule that time to be with your children, to, sometimes it's just silly things, drawing, coloring with her, playing maybe with her dolls and like brushing their hair with her. It doesn't matter. It kind of takes you off that, oh my God, I gotta do this. If you have that, 5, 10, 15 minutes a day where you're spending time, it really should be a priority with your children. They grow up so fast, and if you have older children, connect with them, take them to lunch, do things with them that, gives you a break and you're connecting with your children. So that's some of my me time that I do, which is important to me.
No, that's great. That's great. And that is, I mean, those are things that when you have a busy day and you're running and you're hectic and, taking time, and obviously that benefits your family as well. So just kind of decompressing and spending some quality time together. Amy, I love in your article the point that well, actually, I don't know if I love this, but I love that you bring this up, that fewer than 20% of Americans step away for lunch and 39% eat at their desks. So I know that all of us can relate to that. I, for many, many years, worked within a corporate structure, and many times I just sat there, grabbed a bite to eat. Many times I even skipped lunch because you're just sort of going on that treadmill. And yes, you're being productive, but the great thing about your article is it shows that you're actually being counterproductive. If you take time and step away from the desk, go outside, even if it's a walk in the parking lot or a walk to the park, or going to Target on your lunch break to make a few purchases, it really helps your mind decompress and it makes you more productive. So then when you go back to your workspace, you get so much more done and you're faster, sharper, smarter, and more efficient. So maybe you can speak to that a little bit more, Amy.
Yeah, the biggest challenge I think that people have is that they are multitasking so often that we don't even think about taking a break. So my suggestion for everyone listening is to put it into your schedule so that it happens, and put a highlighter straight through that me time, even if it's just 10 me minutes, because in that case, then it's going to happen. And look, our lives are crazy. Things do creep in here and there. We're not going to be able to make it all of the time. But if we make a point to schedule it, then it's more likely to happen. And the other thing, I think, Cindy, the point that you brought up that is really, really important, we think that we're being our most productive selves by constantly doing something. But if you're doing too many things at once or too many things in one period of time, you're not really doing any of them well. So it's not only taking a break and relaxing and refocus, but maybe eliminate some of the things you're doing at once. Let's focus down to one thing or two things maximum, because the brain just can't handle all of this information. It's too much information, and it depletes the amount of energy, focus, and contribution that we have to each of those areas. So the kiss saying, keep it simple, stupid, that really is meaningful, because if we're able to dial it down to just a few things, then we're actually going to be our better selves, even though it seems that it would be the other way.
I agree. I totally agree. And a couple of things that we had talked about, and that's what I love about our sisterhood too. We keep each other accountable. We inspire each other to take those breaks, because everybody falls into that category at times in life where you're on deadline, you're running to catch an airplane, you have birthday parties for your kids, so many multitasking and juggling so many things. And I love that part of the thing that with our group, I get inspired from Dawn, so many things that she says, from Amy, and we do inspire each other and keep ourselves accountable. So we make sure, did you take your 10 me minutes today? And I love hearing about what each of you, the little routines that you have. And one of the things that I do, that I try to do, and like Amy was saying with scheduling, is because I know we can all get so inundated with email and just social media. So I've decided that, and I do try to do this on a daily basis, I have times of the day where I'm focusing on getting work done during my work day. And I actually do not check my emails during those times. And I have times that I've scheduled now. Okay, so from this period to this period, I mean, everybody's time will be different based on what works for you. But for me, first thing in the morning, I check my email, and then again later in the afternoon, so that I don't get distracted, because that's what happens. You start seeing, and then there's like 100 fires that you need to put out. And then you see something on social media, and that's another distraction. And then you feel like you need to make an Instagram post, and that's another distraction. So I find
Dawn needs to take the email advice, because she gets like 800 emails a day.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So true. I mean, right, Dawn?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, what I've learned also to do is just to sort of shut off my notifications, because I felt like you're right, Cindy, to piggyback off of what you're saying. It's like, you know, and Amy, the same thing you said. It's like you have to kind of have a system, and you have to really, you know, really schedule that time, because again, if we don't schedule it, you know, our day just goes. Like all of a sudden it's 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, and it's like, oh my God, where did the day go? And I have not had any time for myself. I haven't done one thing to relax, or you know, and so I started shutting off my notifications, because I found that you know, from Instagram and Pinterest, and it was almost too overwhelming for me, because then it's like I have to constantly check my phone, or oh, somebody was, you know, so I shut that off. That really helps me as well. And then with the emails, I really take like maybe half an hour to an hour a day, you know, when I have that time, to eliminate some of the, you know, I call them the junk, or the, you know, the emails where, you know, I'm getting overwhelmed by them, where there's just no reason they're in my email. They're cluttering up my email. So I try to get out the clutter, so that the emails that come in are just the ones that are important.
You know, one other thing to jump in, I love your system concept. You're right. You have to actually incorporate these, eliminating the distractions and scheduling your free time. And if you feel that you personally absolutely cannot do that, then my suggestion to you is to incorporate your downtime in your work time. And what I mean by that is, Cindy and I obviously do a lot of work together. Unfortunately, we live close to each other. So sometimes she'll come over to my house and we'll exercise together in the morning. I have a beautiful bike trail by my house, and you are going
Fabulous.
to lovely, you know, the trees and the fountains and everything. And but at the same time, we're working because we're talking about business. So you know, it's a perfect storm, because by the time that we're done with our bike ride, we've accomplished a lot. We feel refreshed. We spend time in nature. So if you really can't get away, then try to incorporate something wonderful into the work that you are doing.
I agree.
Absolutely. And you know, you guys are lucky. You live in Florida, you're by the beach. You know, for us city girls, and for people who are listening that are city people, you know, we don't have the beach where we could just walk out, or that kind of bike ride. So what I try to do in New York City, you know, we have the parks. So
beautiful parks, amazing.
Beautiful, you know, we have Central Park, we have Battery Park. So what I try to do is just even schedule the, you know, like you were talking about, walks. So I make sure that I walk down to the water, and even just looking at the water and the boats in the water at Battery Park. I live close to Battery Park. That alone, you know, because no matter where you live, whether it's a big city, whether it's, you know, by the beach, you can find that me time. And I think nature is so important for our minds, for our well-beings, for our just to kind of look at and appreciate nature. I think it's just so important for that me time as well.
I agree. And there's studies about nature too. And actually there's another blog post that one of our other sisters, Nancy Donahue, is going to be talking about on a future blab next week. So that's a great topic, Donna, and I agree. And it's like, it makes sense. I mean, even they say when you're barefoot in the grass, when you're barefoot on the sand, you actually get you know, those ions that make you feel better. I mean, it just really does get into your skin. And one other thing I wanted to share that I do, and I used to do this, I have this at my desk at home, but also when I worked in the corporate environment, I had a little fountain that I literally would plug in and turn on, and it helped me stay grounded. So when there's so many things, people coming and going into your office, needing things, you're on deadline, and even at home when you're working from home and the kids, you know, the TV's on, you're doing things, and you're trying to focus, it really does, to me, it helps me stay grounded, sort of like the candle, just another little technique. I got you know, a little fountain again at Target. It was like $30, not expensive, and I turn it on, and it really, to me, it reminds me to sort of take a breath, take a moment, and you're not, again, like Amy said, you're not running a marathon. It's like little sprints, and then you can sort of, you know, relax and breathe.
Yeah, that's a very Yeah, that's a very feng shui thing. I don't know if you knew that, Cindy, but fountains.
Yes, I love feng shui too. Yeah,
They
that's
say,
another topic we'll have to talk about.
Yeah,
Yes. There's
exactly.
while we're talking about nature, I just want to mention a book that I love. It's called The Ecstasy of Surrender, and it's a great book. We could do a million blabs on just the chapters in that book, but there's one in particular that I'm thinking of. It's called The Ecstasy of Nature, and it talks about how important it is to connect to the different elements. And you're talking, Cindy, about water, and we were talking about fire with candles and whatnot, and then there's the earth. And so if you are able to go out and get that book, I highly recommend it. It's by Judith Orloff, The Ecstasy of Surrender. She's actually an MD and intuitive, so it's a really interesting combination because she
The
has
right and the left brain. Yeah.
yes, exactly. So that definitely speaks to what we're talking about today.
So great. I think that, did you want to say anything else, John? Because I was going to say just some final talking points to close our blab, just to kind of walk away with some actionable takeaways that we talked about today. So I'll let you start, Dawn.
I'll let Amy start first because she was talking about that book, and I'm fascinated now. So I'll let you go, and then I'll talk.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, just being conscious of the fact that you're not taking breaks every day is half of the battle. So then you need to take that one extra step to make it happen. And also, if you can incorporate friends or family. I mean, as you were saying, it's tough right now because if you're a stay-at-home mom who's home with their kids this summer. But incorporate your kids into it too, so that you can spend time with them. As Dawn said, you increase and connect your deepen your relationship with them, and also at the same time refresh yourself, and then you can go back to work.
Right. So do you want me to tell you some of my takeaways, little pearls of wisdom? But
yes, absolutely.
I get I absolutely agree with Amy. That little time you spend with your children is it's so incredible for your mind, and also incorporate them, take them to nature with you. With my daughter, we kayak together. Even though she doesn't kayak, she's only 7, but I put her in the front and we go around and we look at, and these are things that are, that are pretty easy to do. They're not strenuous. It's not difficult to achieve. You find a place. I mean, even in New York City, you can find places to kayak, or even things, just take a walk to the park. I bike ride with my daughter, because these are times that your daughter or your son will always remember. Those me times they've had with you as well. I just think it's so important to incorporate your family and your children into that kind of me time. And then also just like Amy said, make sure that you schedule it, that it's important, because just become aware that you're not having that me time for yourself. And once you're aware of it, schedule it, make it happen for you. So
that's great. Thank you. No, absolutely, Dawn. And so I think those are great takeaways. The other thing I just wanted to mention is, scheduling the email. If that's something that you can possibly do, scheduling your email, your social media. I found that is, it's a big time sucker. We're all, we can all easily get distracted, even with a telephone call. Sometimes, unless it's really important, I even, put the phone on vibrate. I look and I say, you know what, I'll have to take it later. And so if there's any, hopefully those little takeaways, lighting a candle, using a fountain, even reading a book. I mean, the book that Amy mentioned, but any book, take 10 minutes during your day. If you're even at your desk, or if you're in the corporate environment, you go into the parking lot at the office and read a book for 10 minutes just to decompress and, take away, and then go back, and then you can really kick ass.
Cindy, we'd love to hear what the viewers do for their break times, because I'm sure you have some ideas that we haven't thought of. So we'd love for you to connect with us. If you go to goodlifegals.com, you can reach out to each of us individually, or you can, send an email to the group. But we'd love to hear from you. We'd love some ideas. Always looking for comments and insights. And Cindy, wrap it up.
Yeah, so definitely, we have the article here. So we would love to hear your comments on Amy's article. Share your thoughts, and yeah. So until the next time, we're always looking for different topics for the Blabs and for the Good Life blog. So if you do want to send each of us a note or one of us a note, perhaps you can be featured as an expert on one of our Blabs, or we can feature you as a blogger, or your content, or even a topic that you come up with, and then we'll write about it. So, so anyway, thank you all for joining us. We're super excited to thank you so much, Amy, for sharing your article and your words of wisdom, and Dawn as well. You always have some wonderful inspiration for us, and have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.